Today's recipe calls for a lemon. I'm going to show you how to make a lemon garlic pasta. It's fairly inexpensive to make, it's really easy to slap together, and it's going to be super tasty. So with that said, let's get started. The first thing we need to do to make this really addicting pasta dish is prep one medium to large lemon. This is a short ingredient list, so things should come together pretty quick. There are a few ways of collecting the yellow skins from the citrus fruit. I'll be showing you how to make two versions of this pasta so you can decide which one you think looks better. Anyways, the first way to collect the zest is by first cutting both ends off the lemon to make it flat on each side. After that, using a paring knife or any small knife you have on hand, place the blade atop of the lemon and slowly cut towards the bottom, following the curve of the fruit. Do your best to just get the skin, leaving behind the pith, which is the white part. It's bitter in taste, so of course we do not want that in our pasta. If you accidentally cut off a lot, like myself, don't worry, it's easy to fix. Alright, now that you have a naked lemon, set it aside for now. Let's clean up the skins, cutting off any pith that may be on them. Lay the lemon peel flat on your cutting board, skin side down, with the white part facing up. After that, lay your blade at a very slight small angle on top of the peel. Slowly start cutting into the pith. Once you know you're under it, between it and the skin, then cut towards the other end away from you, cutting the pith off. Ensure you are holding the rind on the opposite end you intend to cut towards. You want to make sure to keep those fingies. This task is a bit of a pain, but it's worth it in the end. If you're not comfortable with using a knife, or you don't have a paring knife to cut the lemon skin off, you can use a vegetable peeler instead. A Swiss peeler is the best. Enough rambling on, let's start cutting the lemon skins. Using a sharp knife, cut the yellow things into tiny little matchsticks. Keep doing this until everything has been cut. Another way you can collect the little yellow rain jacket of the lemon is by using a microplane zester or a box grater on the fine side. The same rules apply, avoid the pith as much as possible. Oh yeah, also run your finger on the backside of the grater or microplane to knock loose any zest that may be stuck. Also, when you're done zesting, immediately rinse them clean. Makes it much easier to clean later on. Alright, now that you've collected all the lemon zest, go ahead and squeeze half of the lemon to obtain all of the juice that it holds. If you feel like it, you can strain the juice. If not, it's not a big deal. Alright, enough about the citrus fruit. Let's move on to the other main ingredient, which is the garlic clove. Gather 9 medium to large garlic cloves. Cut both ends off each piece. Following that, give them a light smash, then peel off the paper skins. Once it's paperless, thinly slice the garlic into little chips of vampire repellent. Set that business aside so we can move on to the next thing, which is 0.66 ounces or 15 grams of flat leaf parsley. Pick all of the leaves off the stem. If you accidentally get some of the stem, it's not that big of a deal. Anyways, now that all the things have been picked, create a small bundle of green stuff, then with a sharp knife, chop the parsley into little chunks. You want to use a sharp knife to prevent things from bruising. We want to keep that nice bright green color. After you make the first pass, using a rocking motion, chop or mince the parsley into even smaller pieces. The smaller, the better. Keep doing this until your little heart is content with the way things look. Just keep in mind to not overdo it, or things will start to turn dark in color and become bitter in taste. Alright, now that you've made the herb funfetti, set that aside for now. Next, grab a large pot, fill that bad boy up with as much H2O as you need to cook your noodles. And of course, season the water with a couple of fat pinches of coarse ground kosher salt. Now that the water is ready, we also need to get our pasta ready as well, which just means opening a box of your favorite noodle. I went with bucatini. It's become one of my favorite pasta shapes recently. Enough about me though, back to the recipe. Whatever pasta you decide to use, you'll need 8 ounces or 226 grams worth of nudes. Of course, you can double the amount of noodles if needed for your situation. Now that we've collected everything into one area, we now need to move it to a different area, which just means take everything over to a heat source. Oh yeah, I forgot, we need to grate some pecorino romano cheese as well. Shred yourself 1 ounce or 29 grams of cheese on the small side of the box grater. Grating your own cheese is totally worth the trouble. If you do not want to go this route, the pre-shredded will also work. Back over to the stovetop, Crank the heat of the pasta water to high. We're shooting to time things out just right so everything is done all at the same time. Toss a lid on top of the pasta pot. This will help make the water come to a boil faster. Alright, now to the large skillet or saute pan. Turn the heat to a really low medium heat level. We do not want the pan to become ripping hot. Allow the pan to become warm. Once it reaches a warm level, add 1 tablespoon of a good neutral tasting oil or enough to coat the bottom of the pan. Following the oil, dump in the garlic chips and lemon zest. Give things a mix about to coat it all in the oil for an even cook. Season it with some coarse ground kosher salt. Throughout the cooking process, continually give things a stir about. Slowly cook the goods over this low heat. We want to steep the items in the oil. This will infuse the flavors into the oil, giving us max flavor without burning things. It's imperative to cook this on a low heat. This is the second time I had to make this video because I had the heat too high and burned things the first time. Keep cooking things until the pasta water comes to a ripping boil and the noodles are done cooking. If things are cooking too fast, simply take the skillet off the heat source to stop/slow down the cooking process. Alright, now that the water is hot and bothered, drop in the nudes into the boiling water. Cook the pasta about 1 or 2 minutes shorter than what's recommended on the box. We'll finish cooking it in the skillet. Once the pasta is submerged, give things a stir from time to time to prevent things from sticking together. After the timer has gone off for the noodles, transfer the pasta directly from the water over to the skillet, draining off a small amount of water. The pasta water will help thicken our sauce. After the noodles have been added, vigorously mix the bucatini pasta with the other ingredients. We want the pasta water and oil to emulsify into a nice creamy sauce. When things have been mixed together, add the lemon juice in. We want to do it at this point, this way the lemon juice doesn't evaporate too early in the cooking process. Following the juice, sprinkle in half of the Parm cheese. Give things a thorough mix together to emulsify the cheese into the pasta and the sauce. Alright, now add about half of the chopped parsley. Give it a mix about as well until you see a ton of little green specks throughout the noodle dish. Alright, now that all the items are in the skillet, adjust the sauce as needed with pasta water. If you need to add more pasta water like I did, add about a teaspoon or 2 of water at a time to not overdo things. Thoroughly mix things back together to emulsify all of it into one once again. Keep mixing and adding water as needed until you're happy with the end result. Also, give it a taste test and adjust the flavor as needed with salt and more lemon juice if needed. Once you're happy with the result, take the goods off the heat source. Finish the dish off with the rest of the chopped parsley and Parmesan cheese. Alright, let's give this version a taste test, which I'll be honest, this version is my favorite of the two. Oh yeah, also, my parents are weird and like to eat this version cold, like a pasta salad. They swear it's good, but I think they're kinda losing it. But I guess that's just another way you can eat this dish. Anyways, on to tasting.
Alright, now that our lemon pasta is done, let's give it the old taste-a-roo. So looking at it, came out looking super aesthetically pleasing. It has a nice little sheen to it from that oil and the pasta water mixed in there to give it a nice coating on the noodles. Then there's that pop of green from the parsley and the pop of yellow from the lemon zest itself. And of course, all that garlic in there makes it look extra tasty. So with that said, let's give it a shot. This came out so dang good. Even though it's simple, it's very delicious. It's kind of rich and fatty from the olive oil, that Parmesan cheese, and the noodles themselves. That acid and brightness from our lemon zest help cut through all of that richness. We get a pop of freshness from our parsley, and of course it tastes like garlic because we added so dang much. It's not overpowering, it's just perfect. Our sauce is nice and thick and creamy because it emulsified the pasta water and the olive oil emulsified and made a nice thick sauce to coat all of our noodles. Texture wise, the noodles are cooked perfectly. They're nice and al dente. You get a little crunch from some of the garlic chips in there. Overall, it's just really dang tasty. Oh, and also it's a little bit cheesy and salty from that Parmesan cheese. It's just perfect.
To the second version.
Everything will be mostly the same with a few little changes. Add 1 tablespoon of oil, the garlic, the lemon zest, and 2 tablespoons unsalted butter. Cook the goods and the pasta just like we did with the other one. Strain and drain the nudes once they're done cooking. Save yourself about 1 cup or 236 mils of pasta water. If your pan has become too hot before we add the noodles, add a small splash of pasta water to cool it down. Alright, toss the pasta in and give it a mix about as well. Make it rain the lemon juice. Next, give it a stir about as well. Now, to finish off the pasta dish, pour in 1 cup or 236 mils of room temp heavy cream. Mix the cream with the rest of the ingredients. Slowly cook the cream down until it becomes a nice thick sauce that coats the pasta. You'll want to cook this over a low temp and continually stir things so the cream doesn't break. If your sauce becomes oily looking, like the fat is setting on top of the cream, that means it's broken. Don't worry, you can fix it by adding a little pasta water and vigorously mixing the sauce back together. Continue to cook it until you hit the sauce consistency you like. Finally, finish it with the cheese and parsley and give it a mix around. Take it off the heat source and garnish it like we did the other one. Eat this pasta dish with a Caesar salad or a grilled chicken breast. Whatever you decide to do, just enjoy.
Alright, now that the other version is done, let's give it the old taste-a-roo. So looking at it, it came out looking aesthetically pleasing as well. It looks more creamy and saucier, of course, because we added more ingredients. Nonetheless, it looks tasty, so let's give it a shot. This version also came out tasty. Of course, it's a lot richer and heavier because of all that fat from the cream, the butter, and the olive oil. And in the background, that lemon is a little bit more faint and comes on slowly flavor-wise, but it does counterbalance against that richness and fat. And just like the other one, you get that pop of freshness, the cheesiness, and the garlic as well. Texture-wise, it's the same exact thing. This version is probably not my favorite. I like the other one better just because it's lighter and it's more lemon forward. This one is a little bit more faint, so if you're not a huge lemon fan, this is the way to go. Just kind of ease into it flavor wise, but overall they're both just good. This recipe is easy to knock out no matter which version you decide to make, and you can make it any which way you want. Maybe get real bougie with it and make some homemade noodles to make it even better, or toast some red pepper flakes to make it spicy, which sounds very tasty. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Thanks for watching, and I gotta go check in the mirror to see if I have any parsley in my teeth because, you know, it's kind of inevitable and it happens. So I'm gonna go do that, and I'll see you on the next one. And fattier from all that fat. Simple. It's not, well, yeah, it's kind of simple. I don't know. All right, now that even though it's simple, it's really delicious because it is. Which version you choose, and you can make it any which way you want. Maybe make add. Stupid fridge. Always with the dang fridge. You done yet? Is it done yet? I don't know. It's not done.